Before the purchase of the Mississauga tract from the Mississauga Indians in 1806, Halton County was virtually unsettled. By the year 1817, the population of Halton County had grown to 668. Milton at that time was partly virgin forest and partly marshland, with the 16-mile creek following its natural course from the mountain to Lake Ontario. Jasper Martin and his wife Sarah, who emigrated from Newcastle, England, are the first pioneers of this area. In 1822, Jasper Martin drew from the Crown 100 acres of land and bought another 100 acres from Joseph Whitefield, and in the fall of the same year settled with his family on lot number 14. He built a grist mill, and it being the only one in the neighborhood, the place became known among the settlers as Martin's Mills, and afterward Milltown. He was responsible for damming the creek and creating an artificial pond. In fact, it might be said that Milton owes its early existence to young Jasper Martin and the 16-mile creek. By the year 1837, the Martin Mills community had reached a population of over 100 people, and it was well on its way to becoming a self-sufficient community. The residents held a public meeting to decide on a name for the embryo town. It was resolved to name the village Milton. In 1857, George Brown, an early pioneer of this area, was elected mayor, the village having by Act of Parliament been incorporated as a town. 8 years later, in 1865, it was determined to erect a suitable town hall. Where once the primeval forest stood, beautiful farms and stately mansions were built. Walter Lindsay, James Moffat, William Dixon, John Dewar, Clarkson Freeman, Duncan Stewart. These are only a few of the names so closely associated with the early history of this town. These pioneers were religiously minded. After establishing their homes, their chief interest lay in the encouragement of religious services and the promoting of education for the children. The first school was taught by James Black, who was succeeded by Finlay McCallum. At Bruce Street, there was a very fine stone schoolhouse to provide for the increased school population. Milton is one of the prettiest towns in Ontario, with a quaint, old-world charm about it, not often met within this new world. The town is shaded by maples and oak trees. Surrounding the greens are pretty houses with flower gardens and lawns planted with small evergreens and shrubs. The town is an active place of business. Everywhere in this fortunate region, the evidences of energy, industry, and prosperity are to be seen. The owners of this prosperous town are manly, industrious, independent, and highly moral people, respecting the laws and taking an intelligent interest in all that concerns the nation, as well as in their own municipal affairs. A stroll along the town's loveliest streets bring back memories of yesteryears. The pioneers of those days had boldly persevered and laid the foundation of a prosperous and wealthy community.